Hello! Welcome to a reading vlog that I am stupidly excited to begin. It is October 1st, and October 1st means the start of spooky season, and it means the start of 31 books in 31 days. I'm so excited! My TBR actually should be going up right about now. My TBR is now up. It's the 1st of October, the start of 31 books in 31 days, which means I need to pick my first book for 31 books in 31 days. So, come on over to my TBR cart, which I have tidied up for the occasion. Ta-da! Now, it is a Wednesday. I am on Hump Day Sprints with my patrons over there. If you didn't know, I do sprints every Wednesday on my Patreon. And I've been at work today, so I do not have masses of time to get my first book for 31 books in 31 days done. So therefore, I am kind of eyeing up one of the little ones. And I have been thinking about Nothing But Blackened Teeth. I think this could be a good shout. It's little, it will give me a little boost. Tomorrow I can read something a bit bigger. Maybe I could even start something else tonight. So I think this is what I'm going to start with. This is by Cassandra Core. I have read one thing from Cassandra Core before, which is The Salt Grows Heavy. And I liked that more than I thought I would. But I've heard mixed things about this one. But I think it's a good starting point. Shouldn't take me too long. So I will come back when I've finished it, probably. Unless I do have some drastic midway thoughts to share with you. But yeah, I've heard mixed things. Some people loving it and some people absolutely hating this, so I'm interested to see where I will land. Let's go! Hello. Good evening. I finished the book. I don't really know what to say about this. This was bizarre. This wasn't creepy. The subject matter of this should have been scary or creepy or atmospheric. But it really wasn't. This wasn't tense. This wasn't I didn't feel anything with this book. But the subject matter of it makes me think I should. There is a ghost. There is a group of young adults that go to this haunted, abandoned mansion in Japan. One of them's obsessed with haunted houses and wants to get married in a haunted house, so they go with their little group of friends, but they're not really friends, and there's kind of some weird relationships going on there. And then this haunted house turns out to actually be a haunted house, and we have this creepy, ghostly woman, and there's a ritual that the house needs, and it then ends up focusing way more on the characters' relationships to each other and how the house, or the ghost, not the house, is not about the house, it is about the ghost, how the ghostly woman kind of plays up their emotions more than anything, I guess, and then they just end up fighting and arguing with each other, and it turns into a complete disaster. And then in amongst that, there's some really weird lines that just seem really out of place. There's one about the worst wank in the world, where it's this ritual needs blood and bone and organs and cum, And then a couple of pages later, it's like one of the guys, he fucked his hand raw to eke out a little bit of spunk. And it's like, it just doesn't fit with the rest of the book. Like, the writing style of it is very matter of fact. Like, there is no atmosphere building, which I think is why it didn't come across as being creepy or scary or tense in any way, because the writing style is very bland and matter of fact, so I didn't feel anything. But then there are certain lines where I'm like, but it's just so weird. Like, it's such a weird read. I mean, I finished it. Trapped in webs of love, responsibility, and yesterdays, they walk into a haunted house with their hearts full of ghosts. The mansion's long abandoned and it's hungry for new guests and welcomes them all, welcomes the demons inside them, because it's built on foundations of sacrifice and bone. Their night of food, drinks, and games quickly spirals into a nightmare as the house draws them into its embrace. So yeah, that insanity, like, draws them to... Yeah, and then one of the characters, like, something happens with one of the characters where she just kind of disappears for a while and you don't really get to understand why. It's just like, oh, and then this is like a fairy tale, and oh, and we do the ritual, and oh, it's exactly as it's predicted. Like, it's very much, it almost kind of tells on itself a little bit. It's like, oh, this is so stereotypical, and the characters are like, oh, because I am the X type character, I am the Y type character, and this is Act 1, and this is Act 2, and oh no, we can't do that because that's not we're not in Act 3. Like, it kind of tells on itself a little bit. Normally, in that case, I would want to say, like, it pokes fun at itself, like it's self-aware, but that's not how it comes across. It's just... it didn't flow. I didn't get it. And I didn't love it. I think I'm gonna give this one a 2.5. We'll give it a straight, like, half mark. 2.5 in the middle. But that is book 1 of 31 books in 31 days complete, which means I need to pick out my second read. So, back to the cart we go. What do I fancy? Do I fancy something different? Do I fancy something... Maybe I fancy something a bit more atmospheric. Maybe I fancy My Throat is an Open Grave. I feel like that could be an atmospheric one. I'm looking at this TBR here and thinking, I need more books. There's plenty here for me to pick from, but man, I need more books. I'm kind of torn at the minute between A Blood as Bright as the Moon or My Throat is an Open Grave. But I think I'm going to go for My Throat is an Open Grave by Tori Bovolino. I feel like this could be atmospheric. I hope. Like, creepy woods with something that's taken babies, or maybe not for a price. Yeah. Let's give this one a go. Well, friends, I did it. Day 2, book 2 completed. I am kind of whispering a little bit because it's like nearly midnight. Jake's got work really early tomorrow and is fast asleep in that other room. I did finish this book a little while ago. I now completely understand why people say that this one's not horror, although it is marked as fiction horror, and some of the reviews on it, like the quotes, are a deliciously sinister horror and creepy, haunting exploration, brutal, dark, blah blah blah. Like, I get it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if you've read it, you will know what I mean. Difficult to explain without reading it, but this one follows Leah, who lives on the outskirts of this wood, and this town that she's grown up in is very religious. It religious horror? Didn't know that was on my TBR, but religious horror, here we are. Yeah, a very religious town, kind of centered around this church, and they are very much raised to be like pure and perfect. Like purity is a very important thing. And if they sin, if they do anything bad, then the Lord of the Woods will be the one that they answer to. And the Lord of the Woods is this ominous thing that lives in the woods that their town like backs out onto, and in the past babies have been taken by the Lord of the Wood, and then girls have gone in to try and retrieve these babies and never come back. Leah's brother gets taken by the Lord of the Wood, so Leah adventures into the wood to try and retrieve him. I don't know if adventures is the right word there, probably not, but Leah goes off on her quest, and then we explore a lot of themes, a lot of things going on in here, and I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil the direction this goes in, but if you aren't a horror reader, like, this is fine. This does read more fantasy, I think. Maybe like a darker fantasy, for sure. There are some dark themes in here. Check the trigger warnings, for sure. But I would say that this leans more fantasy than horror, despite it being marked as horror. Like, literally, fiction horror. But I really enjoyed this. I have sat and read all of this after work this evening. Well, other than like the first 14 pages that I started last night, so almost all of this sat and read this evening. I found it very compelling. I was really into the characters and into the world. I wanted this to be atmospheric, and I did end up finding it being an atmospheric read. I was really intrigued by the woods and how the woods worked, and how the Lord of the Wood worked, and then also just this like kind of sinister vibe around some of the other things. But yeah, I don't want to say too much because I think it's important to not know the direction this takes. She has to make a bargain with the Lord of the Woods that will uncover secrets that have been buried for decades. Yeah, so I don't want to tell you what any of those secrets might be. I've ended up giving this one 4-star. I would have liked maybe for it to have been a little bit creepier, but I had a good time with it. So 4 stars from me. I'm really glad to have read this. I might check out Not Good for Maidens, because I liked the writing style. As I say, it was atmospheric, which is what I wanted it to be. And I found it, yeah, really compelling and easy to read and easy to kind of lose myself in. So I will definitely check out Not Good for Maidens. And then Tori Bovolino has another one, The Devil Makes 3, which I've not heard of, but I have heard good reviews for Not Good for Maidens, so I'm more likely to check that one out. But yeah, 4 stars, day 2, down, book 2, down. And as for what I'll be reading for day 3, I do not know yet. I have put a poll on my Patreon Discord for my patrons to vote on. I have picked out a handful of books and assigned each of them an emoji. I like a sneaky little emoji poll. I think they're fun. So I will find out in the morning what I will be reading tomorrow. As for now, I'm going to go to bed because I do have work in the morning. Good night. Hello. I should have spoken to you a lot earlier. It is now 10 to 9. Oh, Friday evening. I spoke to you last night after I finished my book, and there was a poll that my patrons were voting on for my next book. And I have the winner, and it is The Butcher of the Forest by Prami Mohammed. This is teeny tiny. It was the smallest book on the poll option, so thank you very much to patrons for picking this one for me. But it does mean that I'm reading another Someone Goes Into the Forest Where Children Are Being Taken book, one after the other. Hopefully that works out okay for me. But I haven't read anything yet today, and that is a problem at this time of night. So what I'm going to do is go and run a bath, stick a little bath bomb in, take my book in, and try and read the whole thing whilst in the bath. Maybe. But you might be wondering, Jade, if you haven't been reading all evening, what the bloody hell have you been doing? I've been building. Ta-da! I have finally started building my Lego Technic McLaren car that Jake got me 2 years ago? A year ago? Year and a half ago? Something like that. And it's been sat in a cupboard waiting for me to build it. And the urge hit me. And I've built, I think, half of it so far. There's like so many cool mechanics to this. Like the steering wheel on it actually turns the bit where the wheels will go, so it will steer. And then there's some gears in the back here. So when the back wheels, when it's got wheels, when the back wheels will turn, the pistons in the engine will actually like move. Can you see? Obviously they'll move a bit more consistently when the wheels are on and it's not just me fiddling with it. But that's really cool. And then we've got the little driver's seat in there as well, which you can currently move. I'm assuming when I carry on that will get locked into place. But yeah, it's coming along. And I've still got like half the instruction manual left to do, so I think I will probably end up finishing this over the weekend, which is exciting. And then I have decided to buy myself another Lego set because I'm really craving Lego. So you'll see that when it comes. I'm very excited to build it. But yeah, for now, the plan is let's go run a spooky bath. Let's use some of my spooky bath stuff, have a nice spooky bath, and read this book. Let's go. Hello, it is now 1:20 in the morning. I did manage to read nearly 100 pages of The Butcher of the Forest in the bath. Not quite all of it. I then got out of the bath and have now, at 1:20 in the morning, finished this one. So a little bit behind schedule. I had wanted to finish it before midnight because at midnight my 24-hour readathon for Patreon began. So I am currently on some midnight kickoff sprints, and I haven't even started my readathon book yet because I was just finishing off The Butcher of the Forest. But I've done it now, so that is the third book of October. Technically, I finished it on the 4th, but at like 1:20, I'm going to say it's still the 3rd because I haven't been to bed yet. So, 3rd of October, 3rd book of October, and I think I'm going to give this one a 4-star. I really enjoyed the atmosphere of this. I liked the forest. Like, it was creepy, it was atmospheric, and the things in the forest actually were, like, dangerous and tricksy and trapsy and monstrous, and it says on there she'll have to evade traps and trickery, ancient monsters and false friends. Like, that was all in there, and the forest actually was a scary place to be. The book itself wasn't scary. It does read more like a dark fantasy fairy tale, more so than a horror, but I can see how it's described as like a blend of fantasy horror because there are some gruesome bits in there. Lots of animal bodies. Lots of, and then some heavier themes of loss and stuff in there as well. And just generally the tension of the forest and it being a scary place to be, and how it kind of not necessarily lures children into it, but it does have some sort of power. And the butcher of the forest is genuinely pretty terrible. The rain and wind are really coming down. Like, it sounds like it's breaking a window. I'm gonna have to go and check on that window. But that does mean that I am now free of a read and can pick my readathon book, and I'm kind of tempted by The Eyes Are the Best Part, but I think I might start it in the morning. God, that wind is really coming down. Wind coming down? Rain coming down. And that wind is really blowing. Anyway, I've only got a couple minutes left of this sprint, and then I think I'm going to wrap up and go to bed. Yeah, maybe start The Eyes Are the Best Part tomorrow. You know what? I don't think I've spoken to you today. I don't think I've vlogged at all today. I filmed my dob of the day for my shorts and my TikTok. If you didn't know, I'm on TikTok doing dobs of the day pretty much daily for 30 books in 30 days. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, I'm pretty sure I'm just Jadeyraereads on TikTok. So just letting you know. But I'm going to try and upload them to shorts as well, because I know not everybody has the dreaded clock app. Anyway, I don't think I've spoken to you today, but I have sat and read the entirety of The Eyes Are the Best Part today. So I can now share my thoughts and feelings with you on this one. Surprise! I enjoyed this a lot. It wasn't quite as gruesome as I thought it was going to be. Like, it wasn't quite as gory, but there were still definitely moments where I was a bit like, ugh, ew. Like, there's eyeballs, you know? And she's got this obsession with eating eyeballs. This one follows a family, a Korean family. The mother has just been left by the father, and there's 2 daughters. And Jiwon is our main character here. And her mum gets a new white boyfriend who seems to just be really into Asian girls in an inappropriate sort of way. And Jiwon can see right through him in the way that he is treating her mother and just her family in general, and the way he views culture. And she just becomes kind of obsessed with his eyeballs and the idea of eating his eyeballs. And like, it comes across as like she's going a little bit insane. Like, something is just chipping away at her, and this obsession with the eyeballs is growing. And there are some gruesome, graphic, like, eyeball-related violent scenes. The way this ended, I did not expect, and I very much enjoyed. And I did become a bit invested, like, in this family's fate and, like, how things were going to work out for them because of the things that Jiwon was doing. Or, in certain cases, not doing. Like, I was really into the family, and it got me. It got in my skin. But it wasn't quite as gruesome as I thought it was going to be. And I wouldn't say that it was, like, scary for a horror. I wouldn't say it was scary. But overall, I've given this one a 4-star. I am glad to have read it. Would I recommend? Yeah. If you can, like, do the whole pulling out an eyeball thing, if you can stomach that, sure. I liked. Anyway, that's that one now done. So 4th of October, 4th book complete, and it is still the 4th of October. And that means I have time to move on to my next one, so I can get a little bit of head start on the 5th of October book. And Jake's friend Craig was over this evening, and I asked him to pick my book off my TBR. So I showed him my TBR cart where they're all stacked up, and just let him free reign pick whichever one he wanted. And he did select The Library at Hellebore by Cassandra Core for me. So the second Cassandra Core book, here I come. I'm intrigued about this one. I've heard some bizarre things about some of the content in this one, so I'm looking forward to that. And I have heard from other people who have read Cassandra Core that this one is like the strongest. Obviously, it's her latest one, so I'm assuming just general improvement as a writer. But I have heard that this is like her strongest. So I'm excited to get cracking. This one is about a school and a library, It's a school where like the Antichrists and the Ragnaroks of the world go, and the teachers at the school, I think, go on like a murderous rampage, and the students end up in the library and they have to get out of the library. Oh, and our main character is kidnapped and forced to enroll into this school. Forgot about that part. So I'm excited to dive into this one. And as the theme of this seems to be, it was the same in my last vlog. I just seem to finish a book. Like, I tell you I'm going to start a book, and then I come back to you when it's finished. I don't give you any midway updates. I just need to remember to vlog more, you know? Hello, dear friends. I owe you an apology. It's been a couple of days since I updated this vlog. The last time I spoke to you would have been on Saturday at the end of the 24-hour readathon I did with patrons, where I finished the Eyes of the Best Part and then started the library at Hellebore. It's been a couple of days. Obviously, you know I'm doing a 31 in 31 challenge, and I haven't finished the library at Hellebore. I am about halfway. I am on page 120 of this. So that didn't go quite to plan. But I have finished 2 other books in these 2 days. So it is the 7th today, and I have currently finished 6 books. So on Sunday, I didn't vlog at all, but I went out into town with my friend Freddie. We went to the bookstore, we went to TK Maxx and had a look at the Halloweeny bits. We just did some browsing and hung out for a bit and looked at all my wedding photos. Hee hee hee. So I was like socializing and out and about and stuff, which is why I didn't read this the way I planned. So in the evening, I decided to read a manga. I knew I would need to rely on some manga. I just knew it would happen. I didn't think it would happen quite so soon, but I knew it would happen. So I read The Girl from the Other Side, Volume 1. I do have Volume 2 of this, so I have another volume of manga to fall back on if I need to. But my spooky adjacent manga is slim. I literally just have this series that I think would count as like somewhat spooky. I don't know if Children of the Whale would. I don't think Solo Leveling would. Although there are like monsters, so maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to have to rely on too much manga. So, meh. Regardless, I read this one. I have read this before, but a long time ago. And I never got any further than Volume 1 when I read it before. So this one was a reread for me, but has refreshed my memory for me to continue the series potentially this month. This is about a little girl whose aunt left her in this house in the woods, which is the other side. In this world, there are humans, insiders, and these like dark creatures which are outsiders, and if an outsider touches you, you are cursed and you will become an outsider. And this little girl has been abandoned in a house with an outsider. This particular outsider, though, seems to care for this little girl and refuses to touch her or curse her and just wants to keep her safe. But she is on the outside for a reason. Maybe. It's kind of cute and cozy. Like, this little girl is sweet, and her relationship with her teacher, who is this demon thing, is sweet. But I feel like this was very much a setup for why she was abandoned there and how much more is to come. So I hope that this time around I actually do continue this series. So that is another book done. And then I've also read a whole novel in A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, and I have just finished this one. This one's been on my TBR in general for a while. Like, I thought I was going to pick this up so much sooner than I have, but I forgot to actually put it on my October TBR, and I don't know why, because it's so seasonally appropriate. So I'm not sure why I didn't include this one, but I'm really glad to have read this. This one follows Cordelia, and Cordelia's mother is a sorcerer, and as a sorcerer, she has the ability to make Cordelia very obedient, to the point of taking control of her body, and almost like trapping her mind inside. So it's pretty messed up. Like, this mother-daughter relationship is not a good one at all. In fact, it did make me a little bit uncomfortable, because Like, domestic violence is a thing for me. It wasn't quite that bad, but still, it made me a little bit, but it's supposed to, because this mother treats her daughter terribly and has a plan to marry a rich man and dispose of his household so she can kind of take over it for herself, and needs Cordelia to play her part in this, but her mother wants to take things too far, and she's a scary woman. I almost think I've told you too much, so I'm gonna stop talking there. But I liked this. Not my favourite Tea Kingfisher. It was still entertaining. It was still that, like, darker tone that I enjoy from a Tea Kingfisher. I don't think the atmosphere was as strong in this as in some of the other Tea Kingfishers I've read. I still had a good time. I'm giving this one a 4-star. It's still a very good rating. Just not my favourite Tea Kingfisher. Would I still recommend? Absolutely, yeah. So that is another one done as well. I'm doing okay. My stat is, like, not terrible for this week so far. 6 books down. And hopefully tonight I might actually be able to finish this, to finish 7 in 7 days, which would keep me on track for the 31 in 31 days. Hey, so I'm going to go and run a bath. We're going to pop a little Halloweeny bath bomb in, and we're going to have a cozy bath time. Cue the bath montage. Hello. So, I can confirm that last night in the bath, I finished the library at Hellebore. I read for so long. This book made me read really slowly. I was in the bath for like 3 hours. And I didn't take my phone with me, so like I wasn't distracted by scrolling or anything, because I left my phone in the other room. So I was just reading whilst I was in the bath. And I did manage to finish this, but such a slow read because I was so bloody confused. So confused. And then, at the very end, there's a line that just makes me even more confused, and I don't know if anything that I read was real. Well, obviously it wasn't real because it's a book, but like, in the world of the book, was it real? Is that line supposed to make me think that Alessa is a completely unreliable... Oh, sorry, didn't mean to kick you. A completely unreliable narrator? Maybe. Would she be? Yes, maybe she would be, and perhaps that's what that's telling me. But then it also said to pay attention. So am I supposed to be able to decipher what she's lying to us about? I don't know, but I was so confused. This one is gory. A whole lot of body horror in this. Insides being outside, lots of death, cannibalism, some sexual content, like morphing and other things, and lots of death and harm, and yeah, very, very gory. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Am I confused? Yes. Am I still thinking about it though? Yes. Do I think I will continue to think about this for a long while? Yes. It's a book that's definitely made an impression. I'm giving this one a 4-star. I wouldn't say I was like emotionally connected to this book at all. I think, again, that just comes with when they're littler books, I don't have enough time to become emotionally attached to any of the characters or emotionally invested in the plot. But so much was going on in this, and there's like two different timelines. We have like before an event takes place. So something happens at the very beginning of this book, and then we like backtrack. So it's like something happens, and then it's here's a story from, or here's like the timeline from before. But then we also have the timeline from after. And the chapters kind of flip between. Like, here's a chapter from before, here's a chapter from after. And then you go back to carry on before, and then back to carry on after. So you're flipping between these two timelines that slowly put together the full timeline. And at times I was like, damn, I wish this was just chronological so I could keep track of who is where. Because there were definitely moments in this where characters were in one place in the timeline, and then suddenly they were somewhere else. And then, because of the ending and realizing that Alessa is an unreliable narrator, I'm like, was that deliberate? Like, was I supposed to pick up on the fact that that didn't line up? Or was that just a continuity error? Like, I don't know, but I'm gonna be thinking about it for a long while. This one's definitely got in my head. I don't know if I've given you like an overview of what this one is about, though. This one is about a woman called Alessa. In this world, there are people with horrific abilities. You've got the Antichrists and the Ragnaroks of the world. They have the power to inflict enormous amounts of harm and like world-ending abilities. So the government has this scheme to have them enrolled in certain schools to like rehabilitate them into society and make them safe to be around. Hellebore is like the prestigious one, but it turns out they kidnap their students, and Alessa is kidnapped. They don't kidnap all their students, but they kidnapped Alessa because she is able to inflict an incredible amount of harm with her particular ability. She's kidnapped. She does not want to be there, but once you're in Hellebore, you can't get out. And then the faculty go on a carnivorous rampage, and that is the event. We then have the before and the after. So we have before. Apologies, someone knocked at the door. We have before, so Alessa's been kidnapped, and this is her kind of introduction to Hellebore as a school and the people and the characters. Then we have the event and what happens afterwards, with a group of students being trapped in the library to try and get away from the faculty, who are like, I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah, they're trapped in the school's library. They barter for survival, one sacrifice at a time. Gory, gruesome, confusing, definitely in my brain and under my skin. I don't know if I can make coherent thoughts on this because I don't understand it, but I enjoyed it. And I liked not understanding. Like, I like a book that leaves me being a bit like, what? Did that? How did? But then, what? And that's how this one made me feel. So 4 stars for that. And that does mean that for the first 7 days, the first week of October, I managed to read 7 books. And here it is. Here's what I managed. So we did Nothing But Blackened Teeth, My Throat an Open Grave, The Butcher of the Forest, The Eyes are the Best Part, The Girl from the Other Side, A Sorceress Comes to Call, and The Library at Hellebore. I don't think that's bad going for the first week, and it means that I am on track for 31 in 31. Don't get me wrong, I would love to be ahead, but on track is something I can accept. So, 7 books down, however many that leaves me to go for the rest of the month. Vlog 1 of 31 books in 31 days. Complete. Thank you very much for hanging out with me whilst I tackled this. Stay tuned for next week. We will be doing the same thing. We are aiming for a book a day, if not more. And we'll see if I can maintain this pace. But overall, I would say it's a pretty successful week. I haven't disliked anything. Nothing But Blackened Teeth was probably my least favourite of the week. But yeah, overall, pretty successful. So I'm ready to do it all again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you have any recommendations for books that you think I should be picking up in 31 books in 31 days, anything to add to my list, because I'm definitely going to run out of books because I don't have 31 spooky books to read, please do let me know down below. Always open for the recommendations. And I shall see you in whatever comes next. Bye!